everybody. I'm back. I'm going to be finishing up this book, Fascinating Womanhood by Helen B. Andelin, and then hopefully just having a little brief discussion of it afterwards with the chat. I thought I'd open up today with a couple of songs by a band I really liked from Alaska back in the day. I used to go to their shows all the time. I dug up a couple of videos of them, so I thought I'd share them with you guys. Yeah, and shout out to Jamie Russell in the chat. Hi. Who sent me a super sticker. That's cool. Hi, Chase. How you doing? How was your drive? Okay, so let me cue this up. I mean, I basically got it queued up, but I got to do the, like, you know, little switcheroo. And there's a frog in my throat. What up, Mariana? Mariana in the chat. Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good to hear from you. You know what? Why don't you have a wrench? That's an abomination. Let me get that taken care of while you're here. Okay, so this group is the Midnights. I really liked this song back in the day, so I'll play it for you. You can hear the sound of my teenage years, I guess. I can't even count the number of times I saw them. Wasn't that nice? Okay, guys. Yeah. Let's get back into this book. And Chase asked if he can listen and go to sleep. Or he said, if you don't mind. I don't mind. I know. Poor drummer could only afford one drum. It was terrible. They're better in person. Although, I don't know. I don't think that show was their best, you know. Little house show they got recorded at. I don't really know what became of them. Like, one of the members, I know he moved down here to Portland like soon after I did. The time I did, a bunch of Alaskans actually ended up coming down here, but I really didn't keep in contact with most of them. And I just like, I knew people peripherally, but we weren't close. Like they went to different school than me, but I did like their band a lot. And I went to a lot of their shows. Anytime I saw them like on a local show flyer, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be there. Made a point. Let's see. But yeah, I think I've only really kept in contact with my friend Kaylee in terms of like all of the Alaskans in the area. I don't know. And she doesn't even live here anymore. She moved on to LA. And she's like, well, I don't even want to get into what she's up to. Alaskans are interesting people though, but yeah, I don't really know what happened or became of any of the members. Anyway, no, you can't win them all. All right. Jamie said that was terrible. Yeah. Okay. Chapter 20. Summary. You now have the completed picture of what a man finds ideal in woman. There may be other qualities which men find charming, but they are less important than the ones I have covered. These are the qualities which are essential in arousing his feeling of celestial love towards you. Changefulness. You do not have to be all of these things at the same time. In fact, it is changefulness that is so charming in a woman. A man does not want a woman to be the same all the time. One time you should be bright and joyful, another time gentle and feminine, and still another time saucy. Sometimes you need to be serious, especially in your sympathetic understanding, but at other times have the giddiness, vivacity, and teasing playfulness of a child, and occasionally an air of bewitching languor, or the kittenish or cooing quality, which I described in chapter 14. Shut up, Jamie. I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna win me a man's celestial love. Oh, okay. I guess I already have. And if a man is grumpy, try the patient feminine response. I described in the tale the tiger's whisker. If he is cross because of a hard day, try teasing playfulness. But if he carries things too far and mistreats you, and you have a feeling of being walked on or treated unfairly, then respond with childlike sauciness. Any one of these above approaches would be tiresome to a man if they were used consistently. He needs a change, and you become a more interesting, fascinating woman if you are changeful and unpredictable. As the author Charles Reed comments, girls like to be coy and tender, saucy and gentle by turns. In your efforts to be fascinating, do not neglect the angelic side, which is just as essential in winning a man's complete love. Your admirable character, ability to be a domestic goddess, and your deep understanding of him and his problems balance the human side of you and make you the ideal. There is perhaps no other single quality as essential to accepting a man at face value. Others you may not be as skilled at from time to time, and he may still love you tenderly, but if you do not accept him, you will fail to be fascinating. You cannot turn aside from this essential ingredient to love. All else will fail without it. You should give up any effort to change a man and give him his freedom to be himself. You cannot reform a man. And if he mistreats you, you can only give vent to your feelings through sauciness. You should not try to steal from man his right of leadership or his right to be father to his children. The ideal woman is one who honors her husband, even at times against her own feelings or desires. It may seem that we do a lot of giving, and it does not always appear fair, but it is by such giving, honor, and reverence to man that woman gains a strange power over men. It is the power of fascinating womanhood. It is when you seem to give up freedom that you gain it. It is by relinquishing what appear to be rights that you obtain them. The power of fascinating womanhood is a power so great that when you obtain it, you almost wonder if you can be trusted to handle it with care. But if you attempt to use it unfairly or unrighteously, you will lose it. So what do we give up? Nothing essential. And that which we give is richly compensated. When we cast our bread upon the waters, it comes back buttered. We give up only disappointments, heartaches, hard work, frustrations, and discouragements. And what do we gain? We gain celestial love. We enjoy flowers instead of weeds. When you apply this philosophy and become the kind of woman a man wants, you become a happy, well-adjusted person. And this is what nature intended you to be. This is your glory. Women can make or break a marriage. It isn't that we are so much at fault as it is that we have so much power to improve it. This may cause us to ponder over the thought, it isn't completely about whom you marry as who you are. With all the stress on choosing the right mate, it is often overlooked how much we as women contribute to that proper mating and the successful marriage, and how many difficulties we can overcome if we know how. Many women, unfortunately, do not know how to make a success of marriage and have a false idea that if they are honest, kind, and good, and are good housekeepers and mothers, they will be good wives. This is not necessarily true, as we can see. I know many women who meet these qualifications and they are poor wives. Their husbands are unhappy, do not love or appreciate them, and as a result, these women are most unhappy. You see this a lot of the time too. Just to interject there, I definitely can see what she's talking about. I've seen many women who they're very efficient. They do their duties well, almost like clockwork. They keep a really good home. They make good, nutritious meals. They keep really good schedules, but there's something lacking in terms of their actual love affair, with their husband. It's just like they're a worker and that's it. And that doesn't really inspire anything, Better to be imperfect and human to win someone's love. Because otherwise it's just, it doesn't work. You need to have, need to be human and, angelic. I love how they stress the angelic side, but also the human side here, because it's so true. And I think a lot of women think they can never reach that angelic ideal, so they go in the opposite direction as well. I've seen that, where they just become totally selfish and self-absorbed and unconcerned about meeting their duties and just getting what they want out of the marriage. Which, is, again, but this book is about love, this book is about actual love, being loved and being loving. So it's interesting. I have a lot of thoughts. Let me continue. A shout out to Golden Rule TV in the chat, who has joined. Jamie says you have to be friends with your spouse. I concur with that. Golden Rule TV says friends don't bay friends. Friend zoned wifey. Well, I don't know. I just know the people that I know who have the most successful marriages, they are friends with one another. Their love is not just one-dimensional. It's human. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. They like each other. It's not just a love, it's a like they have for one another, You know, do you want to be married to someone you don't like? It's one thing, you can love someone, you can fall in love with someone, but if you don't like them, you don't have an ingredient for a successful marriage. You know? Well, anyway, what do I know? I hope to know. I hope to know. I seem to be moving in that direction. So I'll let you guys know in a couple of years. Okay, let's see. There are, as I have pointed out, many girls who make the mistake of trying too hard to be what they think of as good wives. They are too servile, too willing to please, and their husbands do not appreciate their efforts. If they would think more of themselves and take on at least some human dignity, they would be better wives. And shout out to CSS Element in the chat. The central aim. I have said that the cornerstone of woman's happiness in marriage is to be loved. And this love she can arouse by applying certain principles of truth. The most basic principles which you must apply in winning a man's love are to make him feel like a man. You do this by admiring his manly qualities, by making him feel validated in his role as man, by feeling your role as woman, as mother of his children, and as homemaker, and by taking upon yourself certain qualities, such as femininity, dependency, and childlikeness, qualities which make him feel manly in contrast. This consciousness of his manhood is what arouses love in his heart towards you. You become to him the one woman in the entire world, the most perfect, the most beautiful, the most ideal woman in existence, regardless of your age or essential beauty. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that sound nice? It is true though. You make a man feel like a man, like he's yours. I don't think many women realize how I don't know, unmanly they make men feel. You know, you see women, you see these couples, you see them, and the woman is just making him into a boy. He doesn't want to feel like a boy. He wants to feel like a man. You know, and the more she treats him like a boy, the more unattracted he is to her. He may be dependent on her in many ways, or reliant on her services, or, you know, begrudgingly like there because of whatever commitment he's made. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Okay. If you learn the art of making a man feel like a man, you will learn the art of fascinating womanhood, and you will earn his deepest love. It is also important to remember a man's most basic need in marriage, to be admired by his mate. If you, therefore, give him constantly the thing that means most to him, admiration of his manly qualities, achievements, and ideals, he will be more apt to return such giving by bestowing love upon you. Helps in application. I have given you a woman's philosophy of life. It may seem like an avalanche coming down upon you. How can you absorb it all? How can you remember it all? How can you organize it and apply it in your own life? An effective way is to make a chart similar to the one I have here included, so that you can have a picture of what ought to be, or what you ought to be in one glance. Keep it in a secret place, then take one quality at a time, study it thoroughly, and apply it for a week or so. During this time, notice your husband's reaction to your efforts. It will be interesting to notice how differently he reacts when you concentrate on a specific quality than he does when you apply another one. This is because you arouse in him a particular sentiment. Some things will amuse him, some will fascinate, and others will arouse a feeling of deep appreciation and at times even worship. Are we going to get worship, ladies? These Mormons. What are they up to? When you have covered the material, try to get a total picture of what you are trying to accomplish by referring to the chart occasionally. There are a few ideas which you may need to discuss with your husband, such as his role and your supporting role. It is better to keep the rest of this philosophy from your husband. It is far more convincing to you of its truthfulness, its power, if he knows nothing about it. Jamie, what, you pretend you didn't hear any of this. Or just mute it and play something else and just watch me. It's too late now. He's been here watching with me. But I don't know. I feel like this is just naturally who I am. Like, not naturally. It's something that I've kind of developed over time as I've, grown in my femininity, that I kind of, I don't know, this just, I don't know. I don't know. Like a lot of this, it's been good to hear it put into words, but I feel like I naturally do a lot of this stuff anyway. Like childlikeness, the changeability, for example, having a balance of a human and angelic side, the baby voice. Come on, like. Anyway, I don't know. You think so, Golden Rule TV? Well, I mean, he's a lucky guy. You have to say, like, give him his props. He and I are going to be very, very happy together. Okay, rewards for your efforts you can expect immediately. I swear, the printing of this book leaves much to be desired. They will probably appear unbelievable to you, but don't be discouraged if you backslide and continually make mistakes. It usually takes about a year to form habits which will be of lasting value. But once you have a glimpse into the heaven of fascinating womanhood, you will never be content to enjoy weeds. You may stand astride for a while between the two, unable to reach higher goals, but discontent with the unhappy days of the past. But eventually you will advance to the higher goals, never again to eat the crumbs. It is important that you also understand that once a man experiences you as a fascinating woman, he will not be content for you to be your old self again. Once he has tasted the sweet, he will not be content with the bitter. Although this may appear as a problem in your eyes, it is really an added incentive for your improvement and will help rather than hinder. But it will make you realize that once you start on the road to fascinating womanhood, there is no turning back. Perhaps the greatest encouragement in living fascinating womanhood is in reviewing the successful experiences of other women. I have given many throughout the book, and thousands more have been written and told. Here are a few more to remember. I had been on the front lines of the battlefield of marriage for 12 years. I had fought daily for what I wanted out of marriage, and it had taken its toll. I had battle fatigue, shell shock, nervous tension, and I was bitter and resentful, for no victory had been gained, not even a small one. I was constantly losing ground. I felt like I bore the total worry, cost, and all the responsibilities of this war, and our children were the ones, innocent ones, who were suffering. After 12 years, I felt I just couldn't continue this any longer, and it was then that I was invited to attend a fascinating womanhood class. Now I am giving up my war for peace. The tension and weariness are over. I am happy and secure. I can again meet my domestic responsibilities with joy in my heart because I have shed those that were not mine. Practicing fascinating womanhood has given me more victories in 4 months than I had ever seen in 12 years, and I didn't fight for one of them. They were given to me without even asking. I feel loved and cherished, and it is beautiful. Even my appearance has changed. My face has a new light, my eye a new twinkle, and real joy radiates from my inner being. Friends compliment me on how pretty I look. Before he was making big plans for building on not to our home, but to the garage, a bachelor's apartment where he could get away. Plans included a fireplace, sliding glass doors with a beautiful view, a jacuzzi bath, pool table, bar, color TV, etc. After fascinating womanhood, he is now drawing up plans to remodel our house instead, including a huge family room with a fireplace, a new bedroom for us. He has been sleeping on the couch for 6 years. Oh. And a service room for me with washer, dryer, and a place to sew and iron. Ooh. Here's another success story. I'm happy to say that Fascinating Womanhood is so successful for me that as a result of it and prayer, my husband was baptized into our church last week. I've seen my husband transformed from an agnostic enclosed in a hard shell to a warm, selfless Christian. 6 months ago, he was a calloused cynic. Through my self-righteous attitude, I had driven him to hate the church. I now know how to look for the good in my husband, and there is goodness there I had never envisioned. Now he kneels in prayer with me each night, my hands clasped in his. Is there anything closer to heaven than this? Our children are happy now, and our home is a place of joy. You think Jada says, I want a second opinion from her kids. Did I hate that one? I think I did, yes. Okay. I must tell you that my husband of 5 years, whom I love very much, and I were separated at the time I was introduced to Fascinating Womanhood. After reading and analyzing the situation, it took me exactly 4 months to win him back. Aw, she won her husband back, guys. Isn't that nice? Another success story. I'm so happy. I've had Fascinating Womanhood almost a year now, and I can hardly remember how miserable things were before. This past week, my husband had the whole house carpeted, and he saved up all the money and paid cash for it. I'm so proud of him because for years he just spent money as he wanted, mostly drinking, and well, I don't really know where it went. But now he's so interested in our home and improving things for me. Tonight he's sitting out with our dog, who is due to become a mother any minute. I'm happy to see his love and concern for an animal. And it's so good to know where he is nights. Since Fascinating Womanhood, I have been singing around the house again. It has come back automatically. I guess it is contagious because my husband was attempting to sing along with the radio the other day, and this I have never ever heard him do before. He can't even sing. I had been married 12 mostly unhappy years. I had the strangest husband in all of married land. He did the most awful things and had the weirdest habits anybody had ever heard of. Nobody knew how I put up with him, and even his mother had suggested I leave him. Then one dark day, when I felt just like I couldn't stand it any longer, my sister invited me to attend a Fascinating Womanhood class. Slowly, I began to realize that his peculiar ways were really only his reaction to the horrible way I was treating him. I went home to him and told him I finally realized how wrong I'd been all these years. I told him how much I wanted to change and be a real wife to him. Well, from that day, when I started accepting him at face value and found something to admire in him, he started becoming human again. My mother-in-law saw the change in him immediately. She was sure I'd use some kind of magic on him. So let's see. She has this reference diagram here of the Angelia human, the ideal woman from a man's point of view. The angelic qualities: one, she understands men. Acceptance, admiration, sensitive pride, sympathetic understanding, desire for superiority for his role, and makes him number one. Two, she has a deep inner happiness, which is a result of her character, her goodness, her ability to accept herself, and her ability to appreciate life. Has a lovely character, which self-mastery, unselfishness, benevolence, moral courage, patience, chastity, honesty, humility, self-dignity, and a gentle, tender quality. Is a domestic goddess, a good homemaker, good mother, and is happy in her role. The human qualities are femininity in appearance and in manner, and feminine dependency in actions and attitude towards men. She radiates happiness. She's cheerful, sheds joy, presence lights the home. She has a fresh appearance and manner, keeps herself in good health, and appears fresh in her cleanliness, grooming, and dress. Childlikeness. Childlike emotions, expresses unhappy emotions in a childlike way, tender and changeful, has joy, asks for things that she wants, has a childlike manner, and even at times has a childlike appearance, meaning dresses. When I think of that, I think of like the exaggerated femininity of a child, where you might wear ribbons in your hair, or like, having the playfulness of, style. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't mean dressing in an age inappropriate way, because some women do that and it's not good. But having attention to those little details that, you treat yourself in kind of like that fashion, like a little doll almost. Yeah. Yeah, this book is amazing. I highly recommend going back and listening to it from the beginning. You had a question for me last night? Hi, Greg. I remember you asking me about like my fasting practices. Although, to be honest, I've been off of them a bit lately. I've noticed I've put on a few pounds, not many, but Jamie has been feeding me a lot, and I've been kind of eating in like a more, I don't know, just chaotic way, not chaotic in a bad way, but just eating at different times than usual and not like keeping it. So I have to figure it out, because I ain't getting fat again. So, but today was good. I kept to things pretty well today. And tomorrow I will too. Speaking of which, let me have a sip of water before I continue. The angelic arouses in him a feeling of worship. It brings him peace and happiness. The human fascinates, captivates, amuses, enchants, and arouses a deep desire to protect and shelter. Relationship between the angelic and human. It is interesting to observe that the four qualities on the angelic side of woman directly correspond with the four human qualities. For example, angelic understanding men has to do with understanding masculinity. 2, having a deep inner happiness is spiritual happiness. 3, character is the health of the spirit. Character is the health of the spirit. That's really true, isn't it? Deep. Domestic goddess is the role of the mature woman. Human, femininity corresponds with the study of masculinity. 2, radiant happiness is an outward display of happiness. 3, freshness comes as a result of the health of the body. 4, she balances her maturity by remaining somewhat of a child. The angelic qualities are spiritual and have to do with what a woman actually is. The human qualities are mortal and have to do with what a woman feels and does. The human relates to a woman's appearance, manner, and actions, and are influenced by her general attitude towards men and herself. There is in this world no function more important than that of being charming, to shed joy around, to cast light upon dark days. Is not this not to render a service? Victor Hugo. And I have a little biography of the author. Let's read this. This is her, Helen Andelin, huh? Helen Andelin had 8 children and a happy marriage by the time she began teaching marriage enrichment classes in her late 30s. She would devote the rest of her life, or the rest of her long life, to helping women get the most out of their lives and relationships. Fascinating Womanhood went on to become an international bestseller. Together with other books she wrote afterwards, Helen Andelin's work spawned a global movement that has helped hundreds of thousands of women around the world. Helen Berry Andelin was born in Mesa, Arizona in 1920 to May and Herbert Berry, a dentist. Raised in a happy home where education was emphasized, Helen attended college to study home economics. Even though times were hard, working in a malt shop for 10 cents per hour, sewing curtains and ironing sheets for my parents' motel, the Depression was a time when people worked together and appreciated simple things, states the author. Helen began her loving marriage to Aubrey Andelin in 1942. They first lived in Los Angeles, where Aubrey attended dental school at the University of Southern California, and later served in the Air Force. While raising 4 sons and 4 daughters and teaching marriage classes, Helen began writing Fascinating Womanhood. Her classes became standing room only. Her first version of Fascinating Womanhood was printed by a local high school yearbook company in 1963. In 1974, after selling more than 400,000 copies out of her garage, and with 700 certified teachers, Helen signed a contract with a major New York publisher. To date, her book has sold about 5 million copies worldwide. Helen passed away in 2009, leaving her work and the movement to her daughters and charging the eldest, Dixie Andelin Forsyth, with the task of updating Fascinating Womanhood and also writing a sequel entitled Fascinating Womanhood for the Timeless Woman. That sounds like an interesting title. Should we read it? Okay, that was the book, guys. Fascinating Womanhood. What did y'all think? It's too bad I couldn't get through that last chapter last time I was here. It was just a bit too much for me, but I'm glad to, I don't know, catch up so quickly and finish another book in our reading group, huh? So, I don't know if y'all have any thing you want to say about the book, you can. We can discuss that. I thought I'd also move into discussing what we're going to read next. I have a couple of books that I want to read. And I'm wondering, one of them's kind of big. It's like 600 pages. I'm wondering how I'm going to go about making the time to read that in an efficient way. Or if I should get started with another book first and then get into that one later on this year, maybe when it starts to cool down. because it is getting to be warmer and I'm going to want to be, you know, I don't know, probably just a bit more active moving into the warmer months. So yeah, I do have a book written by Margaret Thatcher that I picked up called The Path to Power, which I thought would be fun to read and discuss. More political, historical book. I think it basically details how she, well, I don't know, how she basically was created through her life and how she went about becoming prime minister, the first female prime minister in England. And then I have another book, which is religious in nature, and I'm not remembering the name of it right now. So what do you guys want? Do you want a political book or do you want something religious? Press 1 for politics, 2 for religion. Because that's how we do it at the Terry Strange channel. We talk about things that we're not supposed to. Or I could just do, why don't I do a little quick break? I'll grab the book. Yeah. Gregatron presses 3. He wants something else. Do you want me to read something else? Argolinus, Hake Argolinus, he's having a London broil with mashed potatoes and green peas. That sounds good. Dang. You know what I had for dinner? I had some cottage cheese with mango. Read green eggs and ham. No. That would be over in one episode. I guess I could read it at some point. Let me think. Well, I was gonna play you another song by the Moon Knights. Why don't I cue that up, and then I'll go grab that other book so I actually know the name of it. I'm looking at this. All right, so we'll play this. Be right back. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, guys, let's see. Richard Firks is here. Hi, Richard. How you doing? You like London broiled with mashed potatoes? Dang. I don't know what to say. I mean, Ron's been cooking. Ron's the one cooking tonight. I did something simple. Okay, so yeah, it was St. Augustine's Confessions. So I picked this up. I want to like read this at some point. You know, this looks intense as well. It's like, how many pages? 300 and some pages, and it's pretty small print. Yeah, close to 350. And then the other book I have here is, let me grab this. Oh, see those things off of it. Right next to me here on my other desk. Margaret Thatcher's Path to Power. Okay, but look how big this is. So I picked a couple of big books. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Chase voted for the political book. I mean, they're both a commitment. But this one has some pictures throughout it, so that'll be fun. We can look at that, I guess. I'm looking through the pictures. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, since there was only one vote, I guess we'll be doing what I planned, which is Margaret Thatcher next. So that'll be fun. I guess I'll head out of here. You know, I just wanted to finish that book up today and I guess talk about that. Oh, Yoda's finally showed up. Hey, Yoda. But be back soon, hopefully later this week, maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not running. I just finished reading. I could do another stream. Would y'all want me to? Would y'all come back if I closed this down and started another stream? I could do an open stream. Would that be fun? Because I want to sit here and paint my nails. So, yeah, I think I'll do that. What do you guys think? Yeah, we'll do that. So I'll shut this down, but I'll come back in a few minutes, okay? Okay, guys, bye.